Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my March wrap-up. So we're going to talk about all the books that I finished in the month of March, which is 9, which is more than I expected. This month was absolutely crazy. If you don't know, you must have missed all the vlogs because I have been talking nonstop about the fact that the cat that I took in had her babies. So we have 3 kittens that have required a lot of stressing, and they're absolutely adorable. I love them to bits. I don't know what I'm going to do when it's time to not keep all of them. Let's not think about it. So I went through still some books, a few audiobooks as I was taking care of them, and yeah, let's review them because some really good ones. I'm actually finally not feeling like I hate everything that I'm reading, which is, for me, it's like a thing every year. January, February, I don't tend to read my favorite books, but I have some good ones here. I'm going to go through them in order that I finished them. So the first one was the second book in this quartet, which is Mind of My Mind by Octavia E. Butler. I really liked it. I feel like it was easier to go through than book one. Book one, I mean, just this series in general is going to be probably the weirdest thing that I've read by her. It's a bit all over the place, and they were published in a different order that they're now like put in like the quartet. I'm explaining this badly, but it's a bit all over the place, but I'm really enjoying it. She's still exploring really interesting concept through sci-fi, and this time it's through people having superpowers and kind of interbreeding until they create the perfect people. Obviously, good and evil person trying to like fight each other through that, and there is unfortunately a lot of incest. That's all I'm gonna say. So obviously it starts a bit still in Booktube, but I feel like it becomes better and better, and I feel like things happen in here I wasn't expecting. It's about 200 pages, so it was a quick read, but the way it ended made me need to continue. So in April I'm gonna read book 3 for sure. But yeah, this is good, but I don't know how to rate this. Maybe 4, just because it's weird even for her, but still, she's a favorite author for a reason. I can't recommend her in general, just not this. Don't start with this. Please don't start with this. The second book I finished, I had been dying to read this ever since I picked it up. I think it was in January. The Wall, which, wow. First of all, the premise sounds super interesting. You have this woman who is on a trip in the mountains with 2 friends. They go out in town and she stays there until she realizes that she is stuck behind an invisible wall. So you don't know what happened for that wall to exist. She doesn't really see what really happened outside of the wall, kind of inklings of what maybe has happened, but you don't really know. And she just has to survive there. She's alone with a cow, a cat, and a dog. That's all I'm going to say. And oh my god, super depressing. I mean, as someone would be living behind invisible wall all on their own for years, but somehow I just couldn't put it down, and I needed to know what was going to happen. Obviously, like I said, yes, depressing, but it's also like everyday life. So if you don't like something that is very character driven, very slow paced, this is not going to be your thing. But I really enjoyed it. I'm really mad at some of the things that happen in here, but I think this was great. I don't know how to rate this. I think it's like a 4.5, then I'm gonna round it up to 5 because this is the best book that I've read so far this year, and yes, this is what I wanted, but again, very, very depressing. You don't really get answers. I also want to put that out there because some people hate that. Usually I'm like that, but it worked for this book. I also wanted to mention that there is a movie. I think you might like it more if you have read the book from what I've heard, but I can't find it. I live in Canada. This is a German movie, 10-year-old German movie. So I don't know how and why and how I'm going to find it online. I'm going to try, but yeah, this was great. This was great. Then I finally finished one of my most anticipated read of 2023, A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. I got the book after I had finished reading it, but you know, life happens. This is a chunky book, and this was wonderful. How many pages actually? This like 800 and something pages. Look at the inside, so pretty. I liked book 1. This is technically a prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree. It happens years prior, and I think I liked it even more than book 1. I feel like that doesn't happen very often, but this was great. Still a battle between good and evil. Dragons, a little bit of magic. You get more about the Priori, which is one of the things that I kind of complained about book one. I wanted more about them. You do get more. And if book one was a little gay, this is full on gay. It was good. I really liked all the point of views, which is also something that I've seen people complain about book one. Like they prefer certain point of views, so sometimes it dragged on. I liked all of the point of views, all of them. So it was really, really solid. I think I've been really struggling to rate books this month, but probably a 4.5, 4.25. It was good. I do feel like it kind of dragged a little bit towards the end. It was a long book, but I was also suffering very badly from the reading slump. Keep in mind, I started this book in January. It didn't take that long because of that book. It's just because in February I was doing my 1 week, 1 shelf, so I couldn't finish it. So that didn't help. But yeah, the reading slump obviously influenced my experience a little bit. But I do think that a lot of people are going to like this, especially if you liked Priori, which a lot of people were asking if they should start with one or the other. Apparently the author said you could start or should start with this one. I think you're fine either way. Okay, next I finished a lot of audiobooks because kittens. The first one was The Change, which the first third was the easiest 5 stars ever, but then it kind of very, very much dragged on. And again, part of it is probably the reading slump, but I think the book just drags on in general. You're following mainly these 3 women. They are older, which I've been really enjoying following older female characters. Actually, there are like 3 books in here that are like that. And in this case, it's contemporary, but with a little bit of like fantasy elements. So they are starting to have like magical powers while they're going through menopause. Like they're just so sick of the way the world is. They've been through it their whole lives, but at the same time they're using these powers because they find this body of this young girl, and the police is kind of doing the investigation. They're kind of not really doing that great, and they're trying to figure out what happened, who did it, and get their revenge. So the premise is super interesting. It was really popular. A lot of you told me that you gave this one 5 stars, and I agree that the first like half super solid. I just feel like it slowed down a bit. I do know, once again, reading slump probably didn't help, but I do highly recommend it. I would give it 3.75. I think I'm gonna round it up to a 4. I don't even know what I gave it to on Goodreads. I swear these books feels like so long ago because I haven't been sleeping a lot because of the stress of the kittens, but this was good. This was good. Not an all-time favorite, but it was good. I'm usually not very lucky with like modern time witches, so 4 star is great. Then I've read Moon of the Crusted Snow, which took me by surprise. This one is quite short, about 200 pages, but like I said, I listened to it as an audiobook. I think it was 6.5 hours. And it's like a post-apocalyptic, but in a very secluded space. Like you don't really know what happened in the big cities because you're following people, natives, on a reservation. And I really like how their beliefs obviously influences the way they're perceiving what's going on, and like people trying to come to the community to, you know, stay away, be safe. I mean, who would survive the apocalypse if not people that are used to living from like nature? So I really liked it, but I found it too short, which again, 6.5 hours or 200 pages. It makes sense. I feel like the average book is like 300 at least pages. And I need to actually double check. Someone told me that this is actually going to be the first book in a series, which I don't know how I feel about that. I tried to look it up and I'm not seeing it. I don't know if I would want it to be a series, to be honest. Either way, this was interesting. I love post-apocalyptics. I love the ones that don't tend to be as violent. There are obviously some awful things that do happen here, but it's not like graphic. And I've been trying to find more like this, so I feel like this one, or even like The Wall, you don't know if it's going to be post-apocalyptic or not. Is it just dystopian? I've been liking the ones that are a bit more chill, so this was good. I think I'm going to give it 3.5. Okay, so we're back with an older female character. I've been really liking them. This is Remnant Population, which... Okay, the premise, once again, right up my alley. You're following this woman. She's like in her 70s. She did the things that were expected of her. She got married, she had babies, she raised them, the husband passed away, and they are living on a different planet, and they're being kicked off by the corporation that owns it, and she doesn't want to. She wants to be left alone. Like she's done with people, so she decides to stay behind on the planet. One day, people from the corporation come back on the planet, and they all get murdered by aliens, and she's trying to survive. So it's definitely first contact with aliens, her like developing a relationship with them, and she's so grumpy, so grumpy. I really enjoyed, once again, the development, like trying to, I don't want to say too much, but I feel like sometimes books, when you do like the first contact with aliens, either the aliens are super, super advanced and like villains compared to us, or they're like really primitive. I feel like this one was a good balance of just like we're at the same level, they're actually really smart. And again, I'm going to keep this somewhat vague, but this was good. I really enjoyed it. I did feel like the ending was a bit too sweet. I tend to read dark books. I think we've established this even in this video at this point. But I feel like if you enjoy things like Frederick Backman, but you're trying to read some sci-fi, like A Man Called Uwe, maybe. I liked it. I think a lot of people will also. I'm gonna give this 4 point something. Like I said, this month, I don't know what's going on with my ratings, but I enjoyed it. The next book is the worst one that I've read this month. Clearly, like nothing was under 3-star, which is finally. I read The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. I really enjoyed the Kind Worth Saving by him. It was the first book that I had read by him. I've recommended it a ton. And then I read pretty much all of his books since, and nothing really did it for me. So this was his last shot in my head. I wanted to give it a shot because it's, you know, the follow-up to my favorite book by him. And I don't feel like it was really necessary. It was fine. There's like, I have no hard feelings towards it. I think if you enjoy his work, you will enjoy this one just fine. But I don't feel like it brought anything that new. There's one good thing that happens at the end. That was good. Otherwise, it felt very meh. You're following this woman. She hires a man from book 1 to follow her husband, trying to prove that he's cheating on her, but she has murdered people in the past. And like, it's not bad, it's just not amazing. I'm probably going to give it 3 stars. Just like I said, I feel very, very meh about it. It was very readable though. I will give it that. I feel like if you're looking for something to read during the summer on the beach, something that doesn't, you know, require too much brain power, this was fun for what it was, but I think I'm done with him. If that's the worst book I've read this month, I had a great month. And then if you have seen my last vlog, this is the last book that I finished, For Your Own Good, which is also a murder mystery. This one kind of dark academia. You follow a character who is a teacher at this private school for rich kids, and he hates them. He very much resents everyone, but he was, you know, the teacher of the year, so he feels very, you know, and he starts murdering people. That's the best way I can describe this book. And this was fun for what it was once again. It's about 400 pages, but fairly quick read. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun. I feel like this is a good one for someone that reads a lot of like YA and wants to read adult books. I feel like it was, like I said, very readable, very accessible, and it was fun. It's always weird to describe a murder mystery as fun, but like it's not gruesome. It tends to just be like, oh, murdering a bunch of people, and like the main character is a bad person, which I don't feel like there are enough books like that. And this one, like, obviously in his eyes, he doesn't think he's the bad person. Like, he's doing everything for their own good. But this was fun. A good summer, fall read, you know, back to school eventually. So yeah, this was good. I'm gonna give it 4. I almost forgot, the last audiobook that I listened to was Butts, a Backstory, which is, yeah, nonfiction about butts. It's a huge topic, of course. So the author tends to, like, she does go in details in some of these things, but obviously, again, it's so huge. It starts huge, huge butts. It starts about talking about evolutionary, like why we develop butts, and then goes into more like in history, and then obviously a bit more modern times linked to racism, which the author does mention her limitations since she is a white woman with a big butt. I didn't look, but of course we're going to believe her. So of course it does affect her point of view, but I thought it was a really interesting mix of, again, kind of historical things to also person experiences. And I've been wanting to try more nonfiction, and I like these like fun ones. That way I can recommend them to you, because a lot of people think nonfiction are just boring. Some of them are fun. Some of them are fun. As an audiobook, it was good too. Narration was fine. So I'm going to give it a 4 stars. I do think that some bits could have been a bit more detailed, but once again, it tends to be like that kind of nonfiction that is a bit surface level. And if there's something that you really enjoy, you can look further into it, which I might. So yeah, Butts, a Backstory. Definitely an eye-catching one. So yeah, that's it. As far as I'm currently listening to, I'm still listening to Bad Gays, which is great so far. And yeah, I'll talk about the rest in my next vlog because don't want to spoil everything. I had a good reading month, as you saw, like nothing crazy bad, no full on 5 stars except like The Wall, 4.5, but nothing that was under 3, which so refreshing after the month of January and February, which were kind of rough, but it's that time of year for me. So that's it. If you have read these books, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. We can discuss them, and let me know your favorite ones, the best one you've read this month, because I can always add more books to my TBR. That's going to be it. Thumbs up, subscribe. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in an upcoming video very soon. Bye.